days left before the new year.
But what if I told you you could get ahead of 98% of people by then just by implementing 3 simple habits? Welcome to your winter arc. At this point, you've probably already seen a whole lot of motivational winter arc videos telling you to lock in, hit the gym, and just get into this really focused hoodie and sweatpants state before January hits. But have you noticed that people in these videos never actually give you a concrete plan to follow to get to your goals? That changes today. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Last year, I tried to lock in with a winter arc of my own, and it completely flopped. My sleep schedule went the opposite way than I wanted. I felt like I had 101 million different healthy habits that I needed to tick off every single day. And without having a structured week by week plan I could just follow to keep me going the right direction, I felt so lost. And every day ended with me questioning to myself, why am I actually doing this? But this year is going to be different for the both of us. In this video, as episode 2 of our new winter arc series, I'm going to give you the exact 90-day plan that you can follow so you can actually level up and be in that top 2% by the new year. This is going to be the only series you need. You can also obviously use this plan whatever time of year it is, but since most people push off their goals till January, this is your time to get ahead. The next 90 days could literally change the rest of your life. So if you're ready to lock in, make sure you subscribe and let's get to it. Habit number 1 is move your body every single day. It doesn't have to be a gym session every single day, but even just 30 minutes of stretching, walking, mobility work, gym sessions will add up and compound by January. In terms of actual gym sessions, you do not need to be training every single day. I want you to commit to a minimum of 3 workouts per week. This is going to be 1 upper body session, 1 lower body session, and 1 full body session per week. And I'm going to break down each of those workouts for you in the rest of this series. Starting today with upper body, so I'll give you a full walkthrough of that workout at the end of this video. When you're structuring these workouts into your week, the one thing you want to keep in mind is making sure you have a gap of 48 to 72 hours before training the same muscle group again. So if you train upper body on Monday, you're going to want to wait at least 1 or 2 days before that full body workout. But in a bit, when I put everything together in the 90-day plan for you, I'll already take that into account, so you don't need to worry about it. One of the biggest mistakes that people make on their health and fitness journey, which really limits their progress and often ends with those people just giving up completely, is thinking that exercise is the only thing that will get them results. That is not true. That is not true one bit. Your nutrition and recovery are just as, if not more important than the actual workouts themselves. The moment I realized that and found the right balance between all 3 is when my progress started to speed up dramatically. When we're lifting weights in the gym, we're tearing down our muscle fibers and also depleting our glycogen stores. So to rebuild our muscle, we're going to need protein, and to replenish our glycogen stores, we're going to need carbs. Healthy fats are there to help with hormone regulation, heart health, brain health, and a lot of other things too. I do have separate videos on my channel already going into detail on how to set up your exact calories and macros depending on your goals. So whether you want to gain weight, whether you want to lose weight, whether you want to lose fat, whether you want to tone up. So definitely check those out. But as a general rule of thumb, you want to aim for about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight each day. If you're not eating enough protein or total calories, whatever your goal is, then you're probably not going to end up with the body composition that you want, because you're less likely to hang on to or build new muscle mass and more likely to hold on to fat mass. But habit number 2 that you're going to implement as part of your winter arc is the 85-15 rule. I know it sounds complicated, but I promise it's not. Essentially, all the rule's saying is 85% of the time you want to be getting your foods from whole food sources, and then 15% of the time you've got that left for your favorite treat foods that you enjoy. A lot of people can see really great results just by implementing this rule alone and not having to track anything either. So for that 85%, you want to be prioritizing nutrient-dense, minimally processed foods. Lean proteins like chicken, fish, eggs, beans, lentils, whole grains like rice, whole wheat bread, quinoa, oats, whole wheat pasta, healthy fats in nuts, seeds, avocados, and olive oil. And I like to think about eating a rainbow of different fruits and veggies every day. Fresh, frozen, canned options, they're all great. Those kinds of foods should make up the large majority of your diet. And then the 15% we're going to leave for foods with added sugar, foods high in saturated fats, and occasional treats like pizza, burgers, and desserts. This approach is so much more sustainable than all the fad diets that people tend to lean towards, because it's less restrictive. It allows for flexibility and enjoyment with your food choices, and you don't have to feel guilty about it because it's literally part of your plan. And if 85-15 seems a bit daunting to you to jump into straight off the bat, then start with 75-25 or 80-20. Then you can move on to 85-15 or even 90-10. It's really up to you, and also gives you a nice little way to progress as well. Habit number 3 is one I procrastinated committing to for the longest time. And even though I've been really consistent with the other 2 habits, not solidifying this habit in my day made it so much harder to get results from the other 2. Think of your day as a lineup of books on a bookshelf. Each task or event you've got on that day is one of those books. books. So like work, the gym, cooking dinner. Now to keep those books standing upright, you've got to have 2 bookends. Without the bookends, those books are going to fall flat. It's going to be unorganized, it's going to be a mess, and some of the books might even fall off the shelf completely. Those bookends are your morning and night routine, and that is where habit number 3 comes in. I am a firm believer that your morning starts the night before. So if you don't set yourself up well for the next day, then your whole entire day is not going to go how you want it to. So in the research I've done and from personal experience, I would say that the most important thing about your morning and night routine is that you do them at consistent times each day. Having a consistent sleep schedule has so many benefits to your health, even if you're not getting your 7 to 9 hours, which should be. But going to bed at the same time every night and waking up at the same time every morning is going to regulate your circadian rhythm, it's going to allow you to feel more energized and perform better throughout the day. I'm going to do another video later in the series going over the most optimal morning and night routine, but to be completely honest, at the start of these 90 days, you do not need everything to be completely 100% optimal to get results. In terms of your sleep schedule, this is the most important thing that you need to do. First, pick a time that you're going to wake up every morning. Second, pick a time that you're going to go to bed every night that should be 8 to 9 hours before the time that you want to wake up. That is it. Non-negotiable. And that in itself is going to set you up really well for the next day without you having to think about all of the tiny little optimizations you could make. Now obviously, if we want to get the best sleep possible, which I'm sure we all do, there are a whole load of little things that we can do in our night routine that is going to allow us to do that. But for now, a consistent sleep and wake time that allows you to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night is what I want you to focus on. Now I know I said there are only 3 habits, but this one is for you overachievers, and I think it's really going to take your progress over the next 90 days to the next level. You're going to do one thing that's going to get you one step closer to your higher self every single day. But what do I mean by that? This is the habit that's really going to make this WYMSHARK your own, because we're not all the same. I can't just give you a cookie cutter approach and expect us all to pop out the same jacked, locked in gym bro in January. That was a lot of J's. So some examples of habits you could choose is journaling every day, reading 1 chapter of a book, spending time reading the word and praying each morning, taking up a musical instrument, getting back into creative hobbies like art. That thing that you've been putting off that you know is going to move you forward in life, either mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or just give you more enjoyment in life. This is where you're gonna add that in. But to make sure you actually commit to this, because I know how easy it can be to watch videos like this and just be like, oh yeah, that's an option, I can just not do it. No. If you're actually going to log in, go comment right now what that habit's going to be for you, and then I'll show you how to include it in the 90 days. Pause the video if you need to. Okay, get ready to screenshot because there's no gatekeeping here. This is going to be your plan for the next 90 days, starting with days 1 to 30. The good thing about this plan is that you don't have to wait till Monday to start, because I've not put any days on it, so you can start this whenever. You've got your workouts color coded in there with enough space between them to allow for optimal recovery, but you do have another option. So if you want to move the upper body to just after the leg day, that is also fine for recovery, as long as you leave a full 24 hours before you then go and train full body. To make sure we're not overloading ourselves by adding in so many new habits all at once, I've only allocated 1 day each week to your higher self habit this month. And this is the minimum number of times that you're going to do that higher self habit. I'm going to increase it over the 90 days, but if you feel like you can do it every day or every second day, absolutely go for it. I've also added a few additional goals to aim for down the side, so you can screenshot this and fill this in for yourself. But yeah, that's basically the overview of your WYMSHARK for the next 90 days. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment and I'll answer them down there. Before we head to the gym, it means so much if you could subscribe, because we're on the road to 100k. There's 80,000 of you in this amazing community, and it's been such a blessing to hear about your progress in your fitness journeys too, like in all the comments you guys have sent. And yeah, it's just great to know that we're in this together. We're showing up, locking in, getting results. You're not alone, and that's what it's all about. So without further ado, let's go train. So I'm going to talk you through all the exercises in this workout, and then I'll share a screenshot with all the sets and reps at the end. As always, first we start with our warm-up. So I did 5 minutes of light cardio and forgot to film that, but then we move on to some dynamic stretches, which is what I'm doing now. If you want a full warm-up routine that you can just follow, I will link my follow-along dynamic warm-up that you can do before any of your workouts above. I'll also preface this workout by saying if you watched any of my previous vlogs for the last couple of weeks, you'll know that I injured my shoulder and bicep a couple months ago now, so I've not been able to train upper body for a month, and I literally just got back into training it a few weeks ago, so I'm not able to lift as heavy as I would like to, and I'm just having to be really careful around my shoulder. But other than that, we're getting back into it. So first, we're starting with dumbbell lateral raises. We're doing these standing, so the most important thing to remember is not to use momentum. You want to control those weights. You want to control those weights as much as you can so that we're keeping the tension on our side delts. The range of motion can be quite important to get the most out of this one, so you don't want to be stopping at the bottom where the tension is off of your shoulders. You want to keep that constant tension, and then on the way up you can go as high as 90 degrees, or some people can go higher than that, but currently with my shoulder I cannot. For all of the exercises in this workout, we're training within 2 to 3 reps shy of failure or going to complete failure. I like to push it hard so we've got that intensity there so we can actually see progress with the work we're putting in. And lateral raises are definitely one of my favorites for the side delts. Next up, we have seated dumbbell shoulder press. So you're going to grab yourself a bench and set it up not quite to its highest setting, but just a little bit below that. I find that much more comfortable in my shoulders, and it just feels like a lot more of a natural movement pattern that way. You're going to kick the dumbbells up into position. Even if you're using light dumbbells, I would recommend just starting to practice kicking them up so that you're ready for when you start lifting heavier weights and you can actually get them up easily. My top tip for seated shoulder press is not just treating it like you're pushing with your arms. You want to involve your whole body. So you want to push through your feet to allow you to lift heavier and brace your core to keep yourself stable. Your wrists should be stacked above your elbows, and when you're lowering the weights, you really don't need to go below parallel, because at that point you're going to be shifting the tension off your shoulders. We're starting off with our heaviest weight for 8 to 10 reps, and then you're going to rest for 90 seconds, drop the weight, and in the next set aim for 12 to 15 reps. Now, we all know how much I love training back, so I couldn't leave this workout without a lat pull down. So here we are. We're going to be going for a fairly wide grip lat pull down today, but I want to quickly go through the variations just in case you don't know. First of all, for the medium / shoulder width grip that we're using today, that's mainly going to target the mid portion of our lats, our teres major, and a bit of our rhomboids. This variation has a pretty balanced activation between width and thickness of our back. And my top 2 form cues for this one is pull the bar to your upper chest and focus on driving your elbows down and in, like you're trying to get them in your back pockets. Then we've got the wide grip lat pull down. With the wider grip, that's going to emphasize the width of our lats and help us create more of that V taper look. There's less bicep involvement in this one and a little bit more isolation on the outer lats. Then we've got our close underhand grip. So this is going to target some of the lower lats closer to your waist, your biceps because of the supinated grip, and also some of your rhomboids and mid back. The underhand grip is going to help you build a bit more thickness and depth through the mid and lower lats, and you can also pull through a greater range of motion. I like to sprinkle these different variations into my routine every so often just to keep things interesting and to challenge the muscles in a bit of a different way. Next, you might have used this machine before, but you probably haven't used it in the way I'm about to show you. But trust me, this is going to be a game changer for your rear delts. If you didn't know, your rear delts are a tiny little muscle in the back of your shoulder that can really help bring shape to your overall shoulder. And lots of people forget to train them, so that's why we're not skipping them. So we're going to be training one arm at a time. And instead of sitting with your chest against the pad, which is what you usually see people do when doing rear delt flies, we're going to sit sideways on the machine. This is going to allow you to get a much bigger range of motion and also add in that stretch to your rear delt, which you don't usually get when you do them with the usual form. If you don't have the same machine, you can also set up this exercise using a cable machine, and you want to make sure that the cable is set to just about shoulder height. Moving on, we've got one of my favorite arm supersets for the biceps and triceps. The biceps and triceps are what we call antagonistic muscle groups, and all that means is that they're on opposite sides of your body, or opposite sides of your arm in this case. So we're starting off with overhead tricep extension. I like to use an easy bar for this. I just find it's better on my wrist than if I use a rope or a straight bar. And a mistake most people make with this is setting up the cable too low. So you want to set it about hip height, because that's going to make it a lot easier for you to get the bar into position, and you're not going to waste as much energy trying to get it up either. As soon as you finish one set of overhead tricep extensions, you're going to go straight into cable bicep curls. So we're setting the cable to the very bottom of the machine, and we're going to turn our back to the cable machine itself. The resistance profile of cable curls is more ideal when you're facing away from the machine, because it emphasizes the lengthened portion of the movement more. After you finished your cable curls, you're going to rest for 90 seconds, then repeat the superset 2 more times. To bring things full circle, we're going to finish off by burning out our shoulders, doing behind the back cable lateral raises. I used to not be the biggest fan of these, but then I made a few tweaks to my form that made it feel so much better and also helped me get a lot more out of it. So first of all, you're going to lower the weight. You need to leave your ego at the door for this one, because lateral raises, as we already know from our first exercise, but cable lateral raises in particular, are even more humbling. Here's how to make sure you're doing it in the best way possible to maximize the side delt gains. Take a step forward, then raise the cable in the scapular plane, but slightly in front of you as opposed to directly out to the side. Then allow your side delts to get an even bigger stretch by letting your arm cross over your body from behind at the bottom. You're going to feel a lot more of a stretch in this exercise than if you have the cable in front of you. And although stretch isn't everything when it comes to gains, including both variations in your routine can make a big difference. So here's the full upper body workout with all the sets and reps included. If you want more full workouts to add into your winter arc routine before I release those videos, check out my gym workouts playlist because I go through a whole load there. So that's the workout complete. I was going to train chest, like I do have one chest exercise in my upper body workouts, but since I injured my shoulder and my bicep last month, I still can't train chest. It just hurts too much, so not for today. But overall, pretty good workout. Just a note on that actually, if you are ever recovering from an injury, you need to make sure that when you're getting back into working out properly, the pain that you're feeling is actually good pain, like muscular pain, rather than in any tendons or joints or anything like that, because the last thing we want to do is aggravate that injury and put you back at square one. So listen to your body, be sensible basically. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the workout. Let me know if you try it, tag me on Instagram because I want to see you guys lock in. This is actually episode 2 of our new winter arc lock-in series, so if you missed episode 1, check out here next. Subscribe, road to 100k. Love so much, we'll see you there.